Imagine this. You take your last breath, and instead of fading into darkness, you open your eyes to something extraordinary. You're standing in a glowing desert where the sand sparkles like crushed diamonds and stars float above like hanging lanterns, suspended in a sky untouched by time. Everything is quiet, yet alive. There is no sun, no moon, just an eternal twilight, serene and mysterious. You look around and realize something incredible. You are no longer part of the world you once knew, yet you are not gone. You're not dead in the way we fear. Instead, you've stepped into something far more mysterious: eternity. In the eyes of the ancient Egyptians, death was never the final chapter. It wasn't an ending, but a transition, a sacred passage from one form of existence to another. To them, life on earth was merely a preparation for what came next. The moment of death was not something to be feared, but understood, an invitation to take a journey of the soul. This journey led to a realm they called the Duat, a shadowy but divine landscape filled with gods, challenges, and revelations. Here, the soul would encounter the ultimate test, not of strength or wealth, but of truth. In the great hall of Ma'at, the heart of the departed was placed on a scale and weighed against a single, delicate feather, the feather of truth. This was no metaphor. To the ancient Egyptians, the heart carried every action, every emotion, every secret. If the heart was heavy with guilt, lies, and injustice, it would outweigh the feather. The soul would be devoured by a monstrous deity named Amit, part crocodile, part lion, part hippopotamus, erasing the spirit from all existence. But if the heart was light, if the soul had lived in harmony with truth, justice, and balance, then something miraculous would happen. The person would be welcomed into the field of reeds, a heavenly version of Egypt, lush and eternal. There they would live forever among the gods and ancestors, free from pain, aging, or sorrow. This divine voyage wasn't just legend, it was carefully mapped out in one of the most important spiritual texts of the ancient world. Known today as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, its original title was The Book of Coming Forth by Day. It wasn't a book in the modern sense, but a sacred collection of spells, prayers, and illustrations written on papyrus scrolls, placed in tombs, and meant to guide the soul through every step of the Duat. It is a spiritual guidebook, part mythology, part moral compass. And though it was written over 3,000 years ago, its messages still resonate. The Egyptians believed the soul's journey didn't end in death, it began there. And perhaps, in their ancient wisdom, they left us more than just a story. They left us a reminder that what we do in this life shapes what awaits us in the next. A golden twilight falls over the ancient city of Thebes. The desert winds hush into silence, as if the entire cosmos pauses in reverence. The sacred Nile flows quietly nearby, mirroring the last rays of the sun as it dips beneath the horizon. The sands are still, the temples cast long shadows, and time itself seems to hold its breath. Inside a modest chamber, adorned with simple offerings and hand-carved hieroglyphs, the faint glow of flickering oil lamps dances across the walls. Here, a man takes his final breath. His name is Khay, a humble scribe, a man of ink and wisdom. All his life, he had served Ma'at, the divine principle of truth, justice, balance, and the natural order. He had written prayers for the living, copied hymns for the dead, and inscribed sacred texts meant to outlive stone. As his chest rises for the final time and gently sinks into stillness, his soul detaches quietly. Khay's eyes no longer perceive the world of flesh and form, of burdens and time. But this is not an end. This is only the beginning of a far greater journey. Khay opens his spiritual eyes in a realm both unfamiliar and intimately known. The Duat, the mysterious Egyptian underworld. Unlike the grim hells of later traditions, the Duat is not a place of fire or torment. It is a realm of passage, of truth, of sacred transformation. A land where rivers shimmer with starlight, and golden sands glow like burning coals. The skies above swirl with colors not seen in the waking world, hues born from ancient hymns and divine memory. The air hums with a silent music, and time, as Khay once knew it, no longer holds any meaning. A voice echoes softly in his consciousness. It is not loud, yet it fills all space. Awaken, Khay, for your soul begins its weighing. From the veils of mist step radiant figures, beings composed of light and divine presence. They are the Netjeru, the gods of ancient Kemet. Towering above them all, serene yet commanding, stands Anubis, the jackal-headed guardian of the dead. His presence is not terrifying, but piercing. His gaze cuts through illusion and falsehood with the calm precision of one who has seen thousands of souls rise and fall. He gestures silently, and Khay understands. The time of judgment has arrived. Khay finds himself before the tribunal of 42 judges. Each divine judge represents a unique aspect of Ma'at, truth in all its forms. Their expressions are neutral, their eyes eternal. This is not a courtroom, but a sacred mirror. They demand not punishment, but confession, not as submission, but as purification. Khay steps forward and places a trembling hand over his heart, now ethereal, pulsing with memories. He speaks solemnly. I have not lied. I have not caused pain. I have not stolen. I have not turned away from the suffering of others. Each declaration vibrates through the glowing air, resonating like sacred music. His words are not empty. They carry the weight of a lifetime lived. But the judges do not simply listen. They see. They observe his past, feel his choices, measure the sincerity of each word. There is no deception here. Only light. Only shadow. At one confession, he falters. I have not wasted the breath of life. A moment of silence passes. A flicker of regret stirs within him. Memories of time squandered, opportunities missed, days when purpose faded. The atmosphere shifts. Anubis steps forward slowly, his voice like wind over stone. To waste breath is to deny the divine gift. His tone is not condemning, but firm, filled with the gravity of cosmic law. But you are not condemned, he continues. You are to be shown. And with that, the real journey begins. Khay's soul, translucent and luminous, is not cast out into some dark void, nor hurled into torment. Instead, he is gently guided, surrounded by a presence that feels both vast and intimate. The Duat, the Egyptian underworld, reveals itself not as an end, but as a place of becoming. Here, everything feels both familiar and strange, a dream formed from the deepest layers of memory and meaning. In ancient Egyptian belief, death was never punishment, it was an opportunity. Judgment was not merely about right or wrong, guilt or innocence. It was about Ma'at, universal balance, truth, order. It was about confronting oneself and becoming whole again. There is no eternal damnation here, only the sacred work of purification and transformation. What awaits Khay now is not a throne, nor chains of guilt, not reward nor penalty. What awaits is a path, a long, unfolding journey into the soul's most honest reflection, a journey toward light, not made of fire, but of truth. Anubis, ever silent, gestures forward. Khay walks through a corridor of stars and shadows, his feet leaving no imprint on the glowing sand. Time is suspended. The path is lined with symbols, scenes from his life, ancient glyphs of wisdom, gods carved in shifting flame. Then, slowly, the realm begins to shift. The colors brighten. The sky turns from deep indigo to golden dawn. He arrives at the Aru, the field of reeds. This is paradise, not in the sense of luxury, but of harmony. It is a place of balance, beauty, and reflection. The land stretches infinitely, filled with lush green fields, tranquil rivers, birds in eternal flight, and a warm breeze that carries forgotten hymns. It is breathtaking, but it is also testing. The Aru reflects his most cherished memories, his happiest moments given form. He sees his old home, the modest room where he wrote his scrolls. He sees the faces of his family, now young and glowing. He hears the laughter of children, the rustling of papyrus, the murmur of a peaceful Theban evening. His heart swells. Tears gather. Without hesitation, he runs toward them, desperate to embrace it all, to hold again what he thought was lost forever. But as he reaches out, everything dissolves. His wife's hand vanishes in his own. The house becomes mist. The laughter fades. The scrolls crumble into dust. He falls to his knees, breathless, not from pain, but from the ache of realization. The field remains beautiful, but the illusions are gone. A soft rustle behind him. An ibis steps forward, graceful, wise. It is Thoth, god of wisdom, magic, and writing. His eyes shimmer like the stars, and he speaks not with judgment, but with deep understanding. What you loved was never yours, Thoth whispers, voice like ink flowing across parchment. What you tried to possess was always an illusion. Here, only your essence remains, your intentions, your truth, your love. Khay listens, motionless. A breeze lifts the dust from his hands. He sees them clearly now, not the hands of a scribe, but of a soul. The scrolls he wrote in life are gone, but the purpose behind them, the care, the devotion, the service to Mahat, remains. That is what has followed him here. Thoth continues. Desire binds the soul. Release it, and you will find what is eternal. What you cling to must vanish, for only what you are can stay. It strikes Khay deeply. In life, he had believed the written word could preserve eternity. Now, he sees it was the meaning behind the words that truly endures. Love unspoken, kindness given, truth lived. He rises slowly. The pain of loss has not vanished, but it no longer controls him. He understands now that the Aru is not a reward, but a mirror, a reflection of the soul's readiness to live in harmony with eternity. Here, illusions fall away. What remains is the truth of who you are, and in that truth he takes his next step, lightened, awakened, and truly free. Khay is led to the great scales of Mahat. Anubis places his heart, glowing and pulsing with memories, on one side of the scale. On the other side, a single feather, the feather of Mahat. Silence reigns. If the heart is heavier than the feather, the soul is devoured by Amit, a beast part lion, hippo, and crocodile. Total dissolution. No afterlife. No rebirth. The scales tremble. Khay feels every lie he ever told, every kindness he ever gave. Tears fall, not of fear, but clarity. The scales balance. Thoth records the judgment. Osiris, lord of the afterlife, rises from his throne. You have remembered yourself, Khay. Proceed. Khay boards the solar bark, the boat of Ra. It sails through the underworld toward the dawn. With him are other souls, some radiant, others dimmed. The boat passes through 12 gates, each representing 1 hour of the night and one stage of inner transformation. At the first gate, he faces fear, the demons of his own making. He stands tall. At the 6th gate, he meets his shadow, his anger, pride, and doubt. He forgives himself. At the 12th gate, light breaks. The horizon bleeds gold. Ra himself, the sun god, emerges. You have traveled the night, Ra says. Now rise with the light. Khay is no longer Khay. He is light, awareness, harmony. He becomes one with the stars, with the river Nile, with every heartbeat that ever echoed in the temples of Egypt. But there is more. He stands before the lotus of rebirth. He may choose to remain in Aru or return to Earth, reborn to serve the truth again. He smiles. He remembers the children who asked him about the stars, the poor he once fed, the lonely he sat beside. "Let me return," he says. "Let me serve once more." Osiris nods. Then you are not only judged, but awakened. A baby cries in a quiet home near the Nile. His eyes open, and for a moment they glow with ancient knowing. In the sky, the sun rises. The same sun Khay once sailed beside. The journey never ends. It only transforms.